All right, where did we leave off? Where was I? Oh, saving money. So we gotta get to the next two. All right, ready?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, where we left off last week, I have a total annual cost formula, and now you just gave me another total annual cost formula.
There's a different total annual cost formula for all four of these.
What?
Different total. That's why you gotta first identify which one of the four you're supposed to use, and use the formulas for that one. There's four, and when you recognize this one, I said the problem will have production capacity or production rate, and it's the only one that would have production mentioned in there.
Okay, so this one right here, the total annual cost and production rate.
Yeah, production rates involved, and this is the total cost and EOQ formula you would use for production lot size, right here. This total cost formula is different than any other total cost formula. It's only when you are doing what's called a production lot size calculation of how many they should run on the machine at one time. So these formulas are different, and no other one I don't think has this either. Well, at least not calling it runs. It's maybe how many times to order. So anyway, total cost is different for each one. This is the only one that has a P in it, actually. Okay, next. You ready? This is EOQ with plant shortages. It's very similar to the original first one we talked about, except in this case, you're looking at, hey, what if I run out of an item on purpose? And a customer would have to wait and come back to get it then, because I'm gonna be out of it for 2 days or however, whatever the plan is. Now here's the deal. Anytime you run out of something and a customer comes to get it, you risk losing a sale. And that's a big deal. It's called an opportunity cost. All right? But a lot of companies are getting into saying, how much does it really cost us if we do lose the sale? And what percent are we truly losing the sale for? Is it 100% of them we're really losing the sale, or is there a certain percent that come back? And so they figure this all out, and they say, we're going to apply what's called a back order cost and look at possibly letting something run out for a couple of days. And we'll apply that cost that we've estimated based on historical situations. We'll apply that cost and see if there's any chance we come out ahead, even if we do lose some sales. Now don't get me wrong, this is probably only in specific situations where you know the customer will come back, not for this item, maybe they don't come back for this item, but it's a situation where you wouldn't offend them so much that they never come back. Because then the opportunity cost is way too high. You have to measure everything they would have bought from that point on, and that's really hard. So in this example, we, or you, own a car rental company. You've got a whole bunch of rental cars. And you're thinking, you know, you have so many rental cars that you own your own garage with your own repair people. And that what goes out most of these rental cars are the engine. And so in your garage, you're going through engines. Because you get a rental car in there, you just pull the engine out and you have them put a new engine in, and you get that car back out there and start making money. Because that's how your business is. And because the engine's the thing going out, your company is ordering full engines. Every cycle here, and they're going through them, and you're saying, what if we would run out of an engine? You know, what would happen? What would the cost be? Because that car now is going to be delayed for a certain period of time from going out and earning money. But that's kind of different than, that would never hurt really a customer's feelings. Because if a customer just got off a flight and they don't have a car reserved, at least I rented a ton of cars in my days, and I don't have them all reserved all the time. But I'm walking up to the counters going, hey, you got a contact. You got a compact, and we'll say, oh, no, we're all outside about that. We'll go to the next counter. Anybody at the airport knows how all the renter things are all right in a line like that? And that's how I used to do it. Go to the next one. You got a compact. No, all right. If I'm paying for it myself, you got a compact. If not, hey, you got a midsize. I'm not paying for it. You get a midsize. You got a sedan. Whatever. And you go through it like that, and they say yes or no. And I didn't care. It doesn't mean I'll never come back to Hertz because they said no when I got off the plane. But they may have said no because Hertz would have had a car if they didn't have a back order policy, because they ran out of engines, and I just happened to be asking for a car at the exact moment, that they have some engines on back order, and they could have had a car there, but they didn't. But I had no idea that happened, and I don't hold it against them that they didn't have a car. I didn't have a reservation, and so I'm probably coming back to Hertz. There's a perfect example where, having a backorder policy may not be that bad, because there's no way I would have known that they did it on purpose. I didn't have anything reserved. And that, you know, there's a lot of times where people jump off a plane and try to get a car, and usually, I've never not been able to get a car. If they don't have them right there at the airport, you start making phone calls at this little, you know, back then it was a phone and a courtesy counter, and you get a car that way. Anyway, so this, there's something about, the company's examining a backorder policy, and there's a backorder cost in the story. You know it's this one. This is the only one that backorder would be involved in the formula whatsoever, or in the story at all. The word backorder, or running out, or something like that. But you'll see backorder costs somewhere in the story. Now, this is the only one you gotta do this extra calculation. It's the maximum amount that you should ever have on backorder based on that backorder cost that's already been calculated and that holding cost. Because your holding cost goes down now that you're gonna be running out, but your backorder cost goes up. It's just, does what goes down outweigh what's going up? In most cases, the answer is yes, it does. In the situation where the backorder cost isn't as high as you think, like the car rental one that we're gonna look at as an example. What else? I'm asking you to do EOQ, no, where am I? Maximum number of back orders, which is the S, total cost, which is right here, and I can't remember if we're doing a reorder point. Do I have that on there? We'll get to it, I'll figure it out. Here we go. The letters are the same, by the way. 2 is in stone. Annual demand, convert, annual demand. Now this is ordering costs again. We're ordering the engines from a supplier or whatever it is. Here's your holding cost. Same thing, 10% of the cost of one engine, or $20, or whatever it says in the story. You square root all this, then you multiply it times the square root of all this, which is your holding cost plus your backorder cost. Add them first, then divide by the backorder cost, then square root it. Multiply this times this after you do the square roots. I think you get the same answer if you just square root the whole thing and multiply it first. I think you get the same answer anyway. But I always square root, then multiply. And that will give you your Q. You'll use that Q, calculate your maximum back order, and then you're going to use the maximum back order in the Q down here, and your total cost. Go ahead.
Would you use this as a tier 2 supplier?
With a third tier supplier?
Yeah.
Meaning in case I back out, I can see what effect it's going to have on me? In case I back order, excuse me.
Well, usually you get fined if you can't reduce your...
Oh, in the contract, the supplier, if they can't, because they're on just in time, when a supplier doesn't show up with something when it's expected and we don't have an alternative and the whole assembly line has to stop because of this one thing running out, yeah, they'll have that in a lot of contracts. I can't remember the initial question, but I don't think I know the answer.
You would use it for that situation, right?
You might, if in the case where you're saying, look, this is a new supplier, they're third tier, not even first tier, they're third tier, right? And there's a chance they may run out and we could get burned, even though it's in the contract. Let's see what it truly costs us so we can put a number in the contract that they'd have to pay us. And that's where this would come about. Don't forget, I'm giving you the holding cost, I'm giving you the back order cost, and I'm giving you the order cost, but in real life, these take time. And I told you I had to go through to get ordering cost and holding cost, right? And back order cost the same way. You know, what would it be if that customer never comes back? I got to analyze all that. When I was working for the consulting firm, that's what I'm doing every day is analyzing, you know, what all these costs are, so I can calculate if they're wasting money or not.
So, real quick, Excel probably has something that would do all of this for us, and we could use that to check an answer.
Yes, and I've even created an Excel spreadsheet that maybe I should post, where I put it's so easy to put all these formulas in, where at the top you just put in what's annual demand, what's the ordering cost, what's the holding cost, what's the back order cost, click, to calculate all these for you, yes. Excel, you know, there's probably software and everything, but you've got to know how each of these numbers affect it to be able to then make good decisions to make it better.
Right.
Yes.
But like to check our answers for the whole,
Yes.
for example.
You're going to learn how to use the software. I don't think I give you the software for inventory because it's just so easy. But we're heading to using the software on the next, on chapter, I think we started chapter 2, we're getting into the software. By the way, anybody bring a flash drive to get the software at all? You did? Yeah, remind me, if we don't get it today, you don't need it yet, but we'll get it out there, okay? And then I was told about the lab, that the reason we couldn't get on that one lab computer is because if it says it's Windows 10, it will not have the software. And they have not made it compatible with Windows 10. But there's a lab that says that's Windows 7, and that software is on that one. If you're using lab anywhere, make sure and pick Windows 7 lab computer, not Windows 10, if you want to find the software. So, here we go. Rental car. How many cars do we have? 2,500 cars. This is a big rental company. That's a lot of cars. It's all one car called, what kind of car is it? Rockets. All right? Rockets. These are great cars. Let's see. They're maintained in a central garage, and on average, 8 rockets per month require new engines. What's our annual demand? Not all at once. This is, this is the part where you get participation for feedback. I'm catching you off guard. Ready? What's the formula to figure out annual demand? I heard it over here. 8 times what?
12.
12, because there's 12 months a year. 96, I guess. Is that what that means? Engines cost $850. That's not bad. It's like I get a new car for $850. There's also $120 ordering cost every time you place an order with the supplier. And they have an annual holding cost of 30%, meaning 30% of the cost of one engine, so 30% times what? 8, whatever it says, that's right. Excuse me. It takes 2 weeks to obtain the engines after they're ordered. We are doing reorder point. We are doing reorder point. What's reorder point based on? What's it called? What's the words I gave you? So I heard it. You missed that, actually. Who said it? The just-in-time is the inventory system, but, and you almost got it.
Lead time?
The lead time is what that reorder point is based on. Lead time means, how, in this case, however many engines we go through during the time it takes from placing an order to receive an order. So, for example, says 2 weeks. However many engines we go through in 2 weeks is the reorder point. Because what we want to do is, we want that many engines to still be there, place the order for new engines, and then as we're waiting 2 weeks for those engines to arrive, we're going through those engines that we had still when we placed the order. And then right as we're at that last engine getting into the car, the truck arrives on the dock, there's blankety blank number of engines arriving because we ordered them 2 weeks ago. And just in time, because we're on that last engine going into the car right now, we need those for tomorrow morning. That's the just-in-time inventory. Frees up money. It says for every time a week a car is out of service, we lose $40 profit. The back order cost is based on how much we would lose in a year for one item. If one item's back ordered. We're going to lose $40 profit for each week. How many weeks are they open? Does it say? If it doesn't say, you're going to assume they're open every week. So how are you going to calculate that back order cost then?
40 times 50.
40 times 52, there's 52 weeks a year. And do we have that?
Yep.
Where is it? 40 times 52 for one back order. Every single week, we lose $40, so a yearly back order would be $2,080. Demand, we go through 8 engines a month, 12 months a year, 96 engines. It costs $120 every time we place an order. 30% of the cost of one engine is our holding cost. It was given to us as a percentage instead of a flat number, $255. Now we plug those numbers into the formula and do the math, order of operations, be careful. 2 times 96 times 120 divided by 255, square rooted. Next one, holding cost 255 plus back order cost 2,080. Add those, divide by back order cost 2,080, square rooted. Take that number times that number, blah, 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 10.07. Every time we order engines from our supplier, we should be ordering 10 engines. If we don't want to have anything on back order. If we don't want anything on back order, well, no, you know what, I take that back. We're ordering 10 engines, period. Whether we want it on back order or don't want it back order, that's the amount we're going to order, 10 engines. Now, if we decide to have anything on back order, how many would be the optimal amount or the most we should ever have on back order before it ends up costing us more than to just not have a back order? So sure enough, we take our optimal quantity we just calculated, which is the 10, times our holding cost, we calculate to be the 255, divided by the holding cost plus the back order cost. Add these together, multiply this, divide this into that, 1.09. One engine should be the most we have on back order, meaning however much time it takes for us to go through one engine is the amount we would ever want a back order. Now, how do we apply this back order? Are you ready? The back order, in reality, is applied by changing the reorder point. For example, if we are supposed to be ordering 500 of these items every time we order, and the lead time is 3 days, and we go through 20 of these in 3 days, when our inventory gets to 20, we're supposed to be placing an order. 3 days are going by, and we go through those 20, and the 500 we ordered is arriving. Get it? Okay, you see the philosophy? How did I get that 20? But now I want to run out of 2. It says my back order could be 2, not this problem. Hypothetically, let's say the back order could be 2. How do I apply that? I used to reorder at 20. I lower the 20 down by 2. Now I wait to reorder. I don't reorder at 20 more. I'm waiting until it gets to 18. Now I place my order. It takes 3 days. We're going through them, and here we are on the 3rd day. We're about halfway through the 3rd day. Oh my God, we ran out. If a customer comes and needs whatever this hypothetical thing is I'm describing, when we're ran out, during that little bit of time, because we purposely lowered our reorder point by 2, we're going to be asking them to please come back. We have them on the way. They'll probably be here tomorrow, right? 3 days. They'll be here tomorrow. But we purposely did this. Because whatever it is we're thinking about doing this with, we had a pretty good idea that that customer is either going to come back and buy it, or it's not going to offend them enough to not come back if they don't come to get this. They're coming back someday. Right? Get it? So to apply a back order, you adjust the reorder point. So for this one, you will have to tell me the reorder point. You ready? What's the reorder point? Is it on there? No, it's not on there. What is it? I want to see if anybody jumped ahead on me. Good? No one? Let's go to the story. You ready? How many engines do they go through over any period of time in the story? How many?
8 a week.
8 a week? No, 8 a month, I think it says.
8 a month.
8 a month. Here we go. I know this is off camera, but 8 per month. All right. How long does it take from the time we place an order from our company that gives us engines for the engines to arrive to our dock? How long does it take? 14 days or 2 weeks. Doesn't matter how many days are they open. It doesn't say every day they're open, so we're going to go with 2 weeks or 14 days. They mean the same thing in this case. I like to go with weeks though, I think. So 2 weeks is our lead time. And that was you. You drifted on me. I gave you the thing. This is our lead time. Our reorder point's about to be set, and it's all about how many will we go through during the lead time. Break it down. Look at it. We go through 8 a month. How many does that mean in 2 weeks? How much of a month is 2 weeks?
4.
I can kind of hear you.
4.
Half a month. So how many would we go through in 2 weeks?
4.
Your reorder point is 4. Boom. There's your just-in-time inventory system. Hey, we're down to 4 engines. Let's place an order. How many are we ordering?
4 or 8.
10? Was that it? 10 was our optimal quantity. We would like 10 more engines. We're down to 4. The order's in. We got 2 weeks to wait. Everybody's back at work. The order's been placed. A week goes by. Oh my God, we just went through 2 of the 4 engines. We got a week for the order to arrive yet. Half a week goes by. We just went through that 1/3 of the 4 engines that we still had. We're on the last half a week. There's the 4th engine. The truck arrives with 10 more engines just in time. Now we're implementing the back order policy. What do we adjust the reorder point to? 3. Because the maximum back order is 1, so we subtract 1. Now, when we're not ordering at 4 now, we're ordering at 3. We're down to 4 engines. Well, no, don't order. We're waiting. half a week goes by, we just did another engine, we're down to 3 now. Place the order. How many do we order? No.
Or 10.
Thank you. That doesn't change. We always order the optimal quantity, 10. We put the order in for 10, but there's not 2 weeks left, and we gotta wait 2 weeks. We only have a week and a half of engines left. So we gotta wait 2 weeks. Half a week goes by, there's 1 of the 3 engines. Half a week goes by, there's 1 of the 3 engines. There's 1 week. Half a week goes by, there's the last of the 3 engines. We got a half a week left. For that half a week, there's a car sitting there. And don't get me wrong, we got so much other work. The employees are gonna keep busy just because we ran out of engines. But that car could have been out on the road for a half a week, because we're going a half a week without an engine, and it's not gonna make us any money. And we're losing how much money because that car wasn't able to get out on the road because we're out of engines for a half a week. $40 per, was it week? Was it week? So it's a half a week, how much are we losing? $20 is all. $20.
So what's the advantage of that?
The advantage is, so what, that car's not there. The customer who came up to our counter, it's not, we have all the reservations filled, we have the cars for reservations. The random customer that came up and didn't have a reservation, we're gonna have to say, no, sorry, we're out of cars. And either they'll switch to another car or they'll go to the next counter down, but they won't never come back to our counter. We didn't lose them as a customer, we only lost that particular sale that day because they didn't have a reservation. And it was worth it, because we'll save so much money by not having that money wrapped up in inventory for a half a week. And you do this with, anything you can have on back order, and if, as long as the back order cost doesn't outweigh the benefit.
So like, not to get too off topic here, but it doesn't, so they leave that initial counter, go to the next counter, have a great experience at the next counter, they are now a customer for them for life. and we've lost
Possibly,
them forever.
possibly.
So that's
That's
where
the
we
chance we take.
The opportunity cost?
Yeah, we put that into that $40, or 40 times, we put that into that 2,080, just in case something like that happened. But the probability of that, we think, is far less than those that will come back and check with us again, or at least make a reservation where we for sure will have a car for them. But here's the deal. You ready? Oh, I didn't do it for this one? I did it on a piece of paper though, just before I got here, but I didn't do both. We still gotta do total cost. And we wanna do total cost with no back order. The original total cost we would use, forget that. Hang on, you ready? Ready? Okay, let me go with it. Let's say, here's our total cost formula for back orders. Every one of these have different total cost formulas, and this is the only one you're gonna see the C sub B there. Is that the only place? That cost back order. Notice there's 3 parts to this total cost instead of 2, I think, on the previous 2. 3 parts. The back order cost, the holding cost, and the ordering cost. You have 3 different parts. C sub H, $255 holding cost. Here's the weird part. Q, the optimal quantity, minus the back order S squared. So in this case, we told them to order 10, and they can have a maximum of 1, so 10 minus 1 is 9 squared, 81, right? Divided by 2 times the optimal quantity when they place an order, which is 10. Now, this one, annual demand, 96. Ordering cost, 120. Optimal quantity when you place an order, 10. Do the math. Maximum back order squared. In this case, it's 1 squared. That's pretty easy. Back order cost, $40 a week for a whole year would be 52 weeks. We said 2,080. And then 2 times the optimal quantity, which is 10. We do the math on that. Notice in this one, they're not exactly the same in each part. But if you add the back order cost plus the ordering cost, they should be, nope, did I say that backwards? I'm sorry, you add the back order cost to the holding cost, you'll see that they're close to being in balance. $2,288.65 per year to order 10 at a time and have 1 on back order is going to be your total cost. You would do this again with no back order now. The EOQ originally, the original one, and you get total cost, and you'll see that this total cost has a fairly significant savings, a certain percent of savings compared to if you just did the EOQ, the first one we learned from last week. All right. Here is, some people find this to be the hardest, and it's not that hard, but it's hard. What makes it hard is that you have to do all this extra work that you may not use at all when you're figuring out total cost. Because you gotta figure out which one of these makes sense and which one of them don't make sense. Are you ready? I wanna jump to something. I wanna try to clear this up. I'll come up with ideas as I'm talking to you. I'm gonna jump to the end and then go back to the story so you can see what's going on. Anytime you can say, hey, we can't see it. All right, you ready? Here's the end. And this is very common. I've had this so many times in my life. If you happen to be in a position at a business, and a lot of you will, where you have to order from a supplier. For some reason, you are in charge of something to order from a supplier. Once that supplier gets to know you, they're gonna bug the heck out of you with all these different promotions and different things they're trying to get you to order more. And one of the most common things they bug you with is, hey, you're usually ordering, I don't know, however many, 250 of those. If you double your order, we'll give you 7% off the whole order. Or if you order 1,000, we'll give you 15% off the whole order. And all you're thinking is, look at how much money I'll save. 15% off my costs. You know, you gotta order a lot. Your holding cost goes up. Because you're ordering so many, you have to inventory them. Your ordering cost goes down because you're ordering so many, you're not placing as many orders. But you have to take into consideration that you're going to get a discount on the price. So there's three parts to this total cost formula. There's the holding cost, the ordering cost, and then the price discount effect. How much money will I save because I get to pay a lower price for each one I'm buying from the supplier now if I increase my order? So it's called different price levels. And almost every manager assumes the more you buy and the bigger discount you take is the better decision for the company, and it's not always the correct decision. That sometimes you end up wasting money because you order too many. So always jumping on that discount, you gotta take your time and say, let me figure out for sure if that's the way to go. And 75 to 85%, it probably is the way to go, but you do it once, and it happened to be that one time you should not have ordered so many, and it will haunt you, because you would have lost so much money possibly. And this happens when you have what's called perishables. That's the biggest thing I've seen out there in the real world, where companies have lost a ton of money because they took advantage of the price discount, but perishable means it only has a certain lifespan, and it's no good anymore. There's a date on it. And if you bought more than you could sell before it got to that date, nobody's gonna buy it, and you're probably breaking a law if you try to sell it past that date. It's called a perishable. And that's where you, most of the time, that's where I've seen money wasted by taking advantage of price discounts. Making the assumption you're gonna sell them all, or that you can sell them all. And they end up going past. And this is in this example. But here's the deal. You have to calculate your total cost at each price level. Right here, we're getting this item at $2.88. Here we gotta pay $2.97.6, whatever, 98 cents, $3.20. We have three different prices we have to evaluate to make sure that taking a price discount is truly gonna be our best decision. The formula is divide by 2, multiply times 1/2, multiply times 0.5. It all means the same thing, you just see it different ways. But this formula is only for price discounts. I want to emphasize, all four of these you've learned have their own total formulas. Total cost formulas, excuse me. Here's the quantity that you're ordering. This changes, because in order to get this price, there may be a certain amount you have to at least order to get that price. And it may not be, to get that price, it may not be the optimal quantity, but you're willing to leave the optimal quantity because you're being offered a discount. So that's what makes it rough. It's not about getting something in balance. This is about, will that discount I'm getting pay off because I'm increasing my holding cost? So your holding cost is going to be higher. And then you keep evaluating each price, because at this price level, you're getting a small discount, but you don't have to order as many as you do at this price level, and you probably don't have to, and you're probably not going to order the optimal quantity, because you're going to order whatever it takes to get that price. So, where am I here? I just want to show you a table. The check is just 10. Here's the table. Look at this table. If I can get it working. You ready? Hey, right now, you're paying $36 for every one of those you buy. But I'm telling you, if you would just order 100, if you just order some more, somewhere between 100 and 199, I'm going to give you a $4 discount on every single one of them. How about it? All right. My question for you is, I don't want a $4 discount. I want a $6 discount. But to get that discount, I have to order how many? 200. When you calculate total cost, you may not put your optimal quantity here because your optimal quantity was not somewhere between 200 and 299. It was a different number. But you want to see what would happen if you got that price, so you put in the minimum you have to order to get that price. Does everybody see that? I want to make sure you get this. You ready? You're thinking about getting a big discount. You want $8 off. That's major. But the optimal quantity says you should be ordering 122. Are you going to place 122 and get $8 off on all of them? No, you're going to order how many? 300. So you're not going to put 122 in your total cost formula at that price. You're going to go away from the optimal quantity and you're going to order the minimum you have to order so you can take advantage of that price. And you put that in for your Q because you're not ordering the optimal, you're ordering instead the minimum to get the discount. You get it? So every one of these have a different Q. Whoops. They have a different Q because we did some math to figure out, okay, should we order an optimal quantity or do we have to order the minimum to get that price? Where is the optimal quantity fit? Is the optimal quantity, I want to make sure you get this, is the optimal quantity somewhere between 0 and 99? Because if it is, when we figure out that total cost, we're plugging in the optimal quantity. And then we plug in 100, 200, 300 for the others. But what if the optimal quantity is, like I said before, 122 is how many we should order? We'll never order from 0 to 99, and we're not even going to calculate total cost from 0 to 99 because we would never order less than the optimal quantity. Hey, 0 to 99 will never be ordered because we're not going to order less than the optimal quantity. The optimal quantity falls between 100 and 199. So when we do total cost for this one, to get that price of $32, Q is the optimal quantity, not the 100. Because the optimal quantity fell in that range, we're ordering 122, and we're making Q 122 when we calculate the total cost. Now for 30, again, 122 doesn't make sense. It's not between. It's less than that. So we're going to leave our comfort zone of ordering 122, and we want to see what would happen if we want to take advantage of the big discount. You get them for $30. We're figuring out Q, the total cost, at 200. Q is 200. Then we make Q 300. Does everybody get it? Okay, now that you get it, this is going to make sense. Right here, we're down to our last 15 minutes. Everybody sign the sign-in sheet? Good. I don't know where it went, but that's it, thank you. Here we go. Okay, this is Nick's Camera Shop. You have all these things, but we're evaluating this one brand of film that we get from a supplier. Just this film, and don't forget this applies to anything that you can get price discounts on. But we're talking about this film. The film normally we order from our supplier at $3.20 a roll. That's full price because we've only been ordering small quantities, so $3.20. We sell it for $5.25. Not part of this calculation at all. It's just information, just to see so you can see the margin on it. Has a shelf life of 18 months, perishable. We buy more than what we could sell in 18 months. We have just lost our job because the amount of money you waste. If you buy some that we can't even sell at a discount, we have to literally eat the money. That's it. That's way too big of the amount of money you lose is so outweighs that discount you try to go after that you don't deserve your job. That's what I want to make sure and point out about perishables. Our average sales are 21 rolls a week. I'll stop there. How many weeks are we open? Let's assume we're open all year. So what's my yearly? What's the formula for yearly? 21 times 52 if we're open all year. We'll check in a minute. His annual inventory holding rate is 25%. 25% of what? 25% of what?
per item.
That's right, that's exactly, the cost of one roll of film, but that cost of one roll of film will be changing every time we get a price discount. So right now, it's 25% of 320. If we take a discount, we gotta figure out our new holding cost, because it's 25% of whatever the discount rate is, let's say it's $2.95 or something. And then if we take another price discount, we got a new holding cost, 25% of, maybe it's $3 or $2.75 or whatever the next discount is, and we gotta multiply that. So you're gonna have a different holding cost for each formula. You're gonna have a different quantity for each formula. It's a lot of work to figure out which price should we take advantage of, because this supplier just offered us all kinds of different options. Sure enough, supplier said, look, I'll give you 7% discount if you can increase your order to 400 of these. I'll give you a 10% if you take it up to 900, and if you go all the way to 2,000 rolls of film from me, I'll give you a 15% discount. So our annual demand, you said we're going through 21 a week, there's 52 weeks a year, 1,092. Our holding cost is 25% up. This number keeps changing every price level, so that holding cost is gonna change at every price level. Our ordering cost, it says somewhere, I must have passed it, $20 every time we place an order. That doesn't change. Doesn't matter how many we order, it's still gonna cost $20. Let's find our, we got it. Now we're gonna start with the biggest discount. We're gonna start right here. And the first thing we're gonna do is figure out what price below $3.20 could we be getting this film at if we take advantage of this. So 15% discount means we get to pay 85% of our original price, that's 15% off. So instead of $3.20, we could get all of these rolls for $2.72. But we gotta order 2,000. You're on the ball, and you all of a sudden you go, wow, are we truly gonna be able to sell 2,000? Because this film's only gonna last 18 months. Should I really do this? You quickly calculate, okay, we usually go through 21 rolls. 18 months is 78 weeks, 21 times 78, that's 1,638 rolls of film, is that right? And if we order 2,000, we will never sell them all. And 300 and more will be wasted, unless for some reason we run some huge promotion to increase uptick sales. So but possibly we could be wasting 372 of them times $2.72. You do the math on that, and then you do the math, 320 versus 272 times 2,000 to see how much money we save, and you'll realize I should have never ever ordered 2,000. 372 times 272 is going to hugely outweigh the amount we saved, which was only 30, what is that, 40, 50, 48 cents each one is all we saved times 2,000. And then look how many now we're throwing away times 272. We lost our job. You should just walk away and look. You blew it. That's beyond a wiki blue. So we're going to evaluate the next price level. We realize we're never going to order 2,000. Instead, we'll maybe a 10% discount, which means we paid 90% of the price. $2.88 instead of $3.20. Our new holding cost is 25% of $2.88 instead of $3.20. We haven't, and then our end demand stays. That's all it changes here is just that. So our holding cost is the only thing will change at each price level. Our demand's always 1,092. Our ordering cost is always 20. This is always a 2. We calculate this out. 246.31. It says not feasible there. What the heck does that mean? Not feasible. Why is 246.31 not feasible? Because help me. I heard it.
400.
No, but your logic is exactly right. What he's trying to say is there's a minimum you got to order to get that discount, but I think it's 900, isn't it? The most economically feasible quantity to be able to get that 10% off is 900. So we'll never order 246 if we want to take advantage of that discount. So when we calculate total cost for this one, don't put 246, don't put any number but 900, the minimum you have to order to even get the discount. So I want to make sure I did that right, set that right. So let's go to total cost on 10% discount, which is price 288. Look for that's this one. Forgot what I said. There it is, 900, 900. So we have to order at least the minimum, so we're going for 900, because the optimal quantity did not make sense. Figure out total cost, $3,493 a year. Let's evaluate the next one. 7% off. We'll pay 93% of the original price, which means we'll get it for 2.976 cents. That changes our holding cost. Our optimal quantity calculated out to 242, but it's not feasible, meaning we would never, if we want this 7% off, we can't order 242, the supplier won't give us 7% off. So when we figure out total cost, do not use 242.3, use the minimum you have to order now. How many? 400. 400 is the amount you use for quantity on your total cost for this one. Sure enough, at that price point, $2.97, 400 is being used, 400 is being used. See the holding cost for each one of these changing? Remember, that's that thing we're calculating, 25% of 288, 25% of 2.976, 25% of 320. That holding cost changes, the quantity changes, everything else stays. The last one, full price. What if we order full price? What's the deal there? Well, that's 25% of full price. Our optimal quantity would be 233, but how many do we have to order to get the full price? What's the least we can order?
234.
Yeah, what's the least we can order? But I like your thought. What's the least we can order to get the price 320? One. We would never order one. Because the optimal quantity at that price fits in the range to get that price. So when we figure out total cost at $3.20, we're gonna use 233.67 or round it to 234 as our Q for that one. Because that's how many, if we're going full price, that's how many we should be ordering. It fits in the range. Sure enough, the Q is being used here because it makes sense. We have to order between 1 and 399 to pay full price. That's right between there, so that's the number we use for Q. Again, 320 times 25%, slightly higher holding cost. Doom, doom. We now calculate total cost for each price point that we have in front of us, except for the one we would never order, which is the big 15% off or whatever it was, right? We've never, there's too many of them. My question for you is, should we order 234, should we order 400, or should we order 900? I heard it. 400. And I can't tell you how many people, before they calculate this, would say, I'm ordering 900. I want that discount. And really, they didn't waste a lot of money, only $40, but they come out ahead if they would have done the math and say, oh, I should be ordering 400. I could order the optimal quantity, 234, but we'll come out ahead ordering 400. Well, why wouldn't we come out ahead ordering 900? It costs us more money in the big picture. The discount doesn't outweigh the increased holding cost of ordering that many compared to ordering 40. All right, that's it. That's chapter 10. How do we feel? It's recorded. You can always review. If somebody feels like this was too much, too fast, please consider watching the video.